This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, I mean, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's Rudy Gay checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBRPA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoops.com. AJ, Kyle, as always, with you for the show. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. The 76ers losing 25 straight games. When will they actually win another game? That's a good question. Indiana, Miami struggles continue. What's up? And who gets together in time for the playoffs? Western Conference, who gets in and who misses the cut? Knicks. Knicks. 2.5 games out right now. The Hawks giving them gifts. They got to keep that going. And a little Jermaine O'Neal video for you. This is all Kyle, though. All Kyle right there. And, of course, Mark Strickland on vacation in his hometown, Georgia, Atlanta. Back to his old roots, hanging out with the fam. So he's not with us. And he was at Chris Bosh's birthday party. We got to give him crap for that, Kyle, next show. We got to give him crap for that. I wasn't invited to Chris Bosh's birthday party.
I went to Mickey's birthday. All right, Mickey from down the block. So, boom.
Mickey? Who's
Yeah.
Mickey? I don't even know who that is. I know who Chris Bosh is. I don't know who Mickey is.
Well, then that's your problem, man. You messed up.
I didn't mess up.
Let me tell you something. 2 things. Nick's gifts. That sounded good the way you said it. It sounded like it rhymes, even though I don't think it does. And 2, that Jermaine O'Neal video is pretty awesome. And people, I don't know if they realize it, because I don't know how much you see Jermaine O'Neal play, meanwhile get to the free throw line anymore. But when you watch the video, it's going to be pretty entertaining. And before you ask me how my weekend was, I'm going to tell you right now, it was awesome because it was like, what was it, yesterday or Sunday night? They released the new trailer for the X-Men movie, and it looked pretty good.
I'm waiting for Captain America, actually.
I'm pretty excited for the X-Men movie.
I'm excited for Captain America. I think that comes out April 4th, so I'm ready for that. And Transformers in June. Mark Wahlberg, baby. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. I'm not so excited for that, but
well,
whatever.
I am, so.
So where are we going first?
Well, I mean, do you want to play? Should we play the Jermaine O'Neal video? Should we go with Jermaine O'Neal?
Yeah, forget it, because that's going to be the most entertaining thing that we probably get to see all day. So let's watch that Jermaine O'Neal video.
All right.
So for those of you, who are not aware of what we're talking about, Jermaine O'Neal apparently trolls everybody at the free throw line. I guess that's the best way to put it. He holds the ball for a really long time, and then it looks like he's about to shoot the ball. And he doesn't, and everybody crosses the line, and then everybody's going to get back in time for when he actually does shoot the free throw. Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen it? You've been watching basketball a long time. Have you ever seen anybody that does this as a part of their routine?
No. No, honestly, I haven't. There's music to this, too. Should we play the music?
No. We don't need any music.
All right. But, no, I mean, this is... It's pretty amazing. This guy shoots free throws like this. He's been doing it for a long time.
I just love watching it. I mean, there's all these little quirks to basketball games that, if you don't have League Pass and you only have to get to watch, Sports Center, they show you about 4 seconds of every game. And if you're watching a Warriors highlight, it's probably a Steph Curry 3. And that's all the highlights that you're going to get for the game. You never get to see, the little quirks of the game. And this is just one of the things that happens throughout the game. Jermaine O'Neal just trolling everybody at the free throw line. I love it.
I love it. Actually, I remember what I wish we could. I don't think we could pull up the video because the whole show might crash. But I wish we had the video of Vince Carter last season. I think we played that once on the show before, where he he faked like he was hurt, and then he got up. The guy like left his man. He got up and made the layup. Do you remember that? I forget.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, that was Vince Carter at his best. Vince Carter was trolling everybody last season. He trolled everybody.
Well, this is pretty hard. I mean, this guy, he's trolling everybody at the free throw line. That's pretty great.
And then, of course, J.R. Smith with the shoelace thing earlier in the year. I mean, there's
that's just like...
stupidity. That was stupid.
Yeah. This, I think, is entertaining. I mean, the J.R. Smith thing, the first time I saw it, I was entertained. But after your coach comes out and says, hey, don't do it anymore, and the league comes out and says, hey, don't do it anymore, and then you go ahead and do it again, then that's kind of like, all right, enough is enough, man. You know, you're getting paid millions of dollars. Make a bet. And that's when the Knicks were losing.
Right.
You know, I don't want to see the guy who's making millions of dollars, who's supposed to be one of the best players on the team, untying shoelaces. I want to see him throwing it down.
Right.
So, you know, that there's a different, you know, there's a little different level there. But, so that was pretty entertaining. I love that. But, you know, on a more serious note, playoffs are coming around. They're getting closer.
They are.
And Miami and Indiana, you know, two teams that everybody thinks is the best team in the Eastern Conference, but both of them have not been playing good basketball down the stretch. No. Especially Miami, I think they lost 7 of their last 12 games. Dwayne Wade doesn't play any back-to-backs. And I think, yes, it's a good thing that he's going to be as fresh as he possibly can for the playoffs, and he'll be healthy.
Right.
But this is ruining chemistry, in my opinion. And I wish Mark was here to talk on this, but you can't have your best player, your second best player on the team, missing all these games and expect when he comes back for everything to just be good again.
Right.
You know, he's in the lineup. They have some type of continuity. Then he misses the next game, and you have a substitution. And then he's back, and then all of a sudden that throws that continuity out the window because now he's back, and rotations get messed up. And it's like, when is Greg Oden starting, and when is he not playing at all? When is he healthy? You know, when he's healthy enough, he starts at center, and Bosch moves to the 4. But he's not always healthy.
And I know what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but at the same time, when Wade goes out, you got another guy now like Ray Allen who's going to get some more burn. He's going to get he's going to keep his legs warm. And it's like come playoff time, they're gonna need a Ray Allen that's been playing a lot.
Yeah, but chemistry-wise, it's like Ray Allen's game is totally different than Dwayne Wade, especially and they don't even have Ray Allen starting. They have Tony Douglas starting when Dwayne Wade is out. You know, Tony Douglas gets to start. Ray Allen may get more minutes, but Douglas gets to start. So here's Tony Douglas, who maybe not see as much minutes as when Dwayne Wade is in.
Right.
Then you have a new guy in the starting lineup. Then you have Greg Oden again. Like I said, when he's healthy, he's in the starting lineup. So you got 2 guys in the starting lineup that aren't always in the starting lineup. Yeah. So you have a constant changing lineup. And it's like, well, this guy likes the ball here. This guy likes the ball there. This guy moves it better. Blah, blah, blah. Too much moving.
Right.
No, you have your starting 5, and that's what it is for the season. You know, maybe one guy goes down or one guy doesn't play as well and he gets replaced. But to me, the Heat just have too many moving parts, and they don't have enough bench help.
Yeah. I think come playoff time, obviously Wade's going to play every game he can play in the playoffs. They're not going to rest him unless they're up in a series probably 3-0. You know, if they're coasting through a series, I don't see them rest. I see them giving him maybe rest, but otherwise he's going to play every game in the playoffs.
Well, at this point, I don't see them coasting through any team. Even Atlanta, who's the 8th seed, they're not playing good.
I don't think they're going to fall, though. I can't see Miami just falling. You know,
I don't think they're going to fall, but
they have 48 wins right now.
Heat are going to run through 4-0. Right now, I don't see it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't see them sweeping Atlanta or the Knicks. If the Knicks
it wouldn't shock you if Miami lost their first 2 games of the playoffs. It wouldn't shock you at all from how it's been going.
No, it would. It really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because they don't look like a good team defensively.
If Indiana went down in a series 3-0, it wouldn't shock me. You know, that's another team that's kind of in disarray. So I don't know.
Granger trade, man. The ripple effects of the Danny Granger trade.
I don't know so much how much
they're not being stated enough.
I don't know how much the trade is factoring that.
So it's just a coincidence that he gets traded and they suck all of a sudden?
No, I mean, look, Paul George has been shooting 40% since the beginning of January. That trade happened at the end of February. So, his numbers have been steadily decreasing. So, I don't know how much. You're talking about a guy that was up for MVP at one point. You're literally talking about an MVP candidate. And when an MVP candidate falls off, that alone is going to affect your team because Paul George, he's taking a ton of – how many shots Paul George taking a game, and he's shooting 40%. He's not making shots. Okay, you gotta. Okay, let's say Paul George, who's averaging 11 points. Well, there were games where he could put up like 24, 25, 20, and how much these guys losing by some of these games, you know? So I think that factors into a lot of it. Are they as dominant as they were? No, their defense fell off, especially in the fourth quarter in the other game. They were pretty solid for the most part, but their defense is falling apart, and you know Paul George fell off. He's obviously the best player on that team, and when your best player is struggling, your team is going to struggle.
Do you know how many playoff teams? You know, teams that are in the playoffs right now. Do you know how many playoff teams they've beaten since February 19th?
How many?
1. They have lost to every playoff team that they've faced except for one. They beat the Bulls back on March 21st.
Yeah.
You know, and also they just lost to the Bulls on March 24th. But they lost to the Bulls. You know, they cannot. You don't think it's the Granger trade, and it may not be. But something is wrong. Okay?
I don't think
they lost to Golden State, lost to the Bobcats, lost to the Rockets, lost to the Mavericks.
Right.
Lost to the Knicks, who are on the cusp of a playoff, and they lost to the Bulls. Now, the only teams that they've beaten since February 19th have been the worst teams in the NBA. And we're talking about they beat Philly twice.
Right.
They beat Boston. They beat Detroit. Oh, they beat Boston twice, excuse me. So they got to play Philly and Boston twice each. So that's 4 wins for them.
Right.
You know, that doesn't inspire me either. If they have to play Charlotte in the first round, I don't know. Charlotte beat them the last time they played, 109-87.
Right.
Who knows? These Eastern Conference teams are really falling off, the top two. And they should be nervous because they were dominating and they were running away with the Eastern Conference division.
Yeah.
And now you look at teams like Washington and Chicago and Brooklyn, 3 teams that are all gaining momentum as the season ends. As the season draws to a close, those 3 teams are gaining momentum, especially Chicago. Would you be surprised if Chicago went to the Eastern Conference Finals and was able to knock off either Miami or Indiana?
No, not at all. First of all, we're talking about MVP players. We talked about Paul George. Joakim Noah is in the conversation. Okay?
Yeah.
He's there. He is in the conversation right now. So
yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah. So when you have a guy that's playing like an MVP, he's in the conversation for an MVP, and your team is doing well, yeah, they have a chance to beat anybody going into the playoffs if this carries over. You know, of course, injuries happen. Things happen. There's still 12 games, 13 games left in the season here. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. But yeah, I think they got the best coach right now in basketball. A guy that's managing. What do the Bulls got? 40 wins now. Bulls got 40 wins. The Bulls got 40 wins without Derrick Rose, without Luol Deng. This is Joakim Noah running the offense, and DJ Augustine stepping up big. Taj Gibson stepping up. Coach Tibbs is getting these guys to play. He's the only coach, everyone says he's the only coach that manages to win with essentially nothing. And this is why he's such a great coach, and this is why the Bulls are such a good team. And they're great defensively, obviously. That's his bread and butter. Yeah, he's a defensive-minded coach. His defense is the best defense in the league. Hands down. Hands down. So, yeah, I think the Bulls have a chance to beat anybody. And I don't think Brooklyn wants to play them, for sure. Brooklyn does not want to play Chicago.
Well, they lost last year. Remember, they played each other last year in the first round.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that.
I know Toronto was trying to rebuild, and earlier in the season, they didn't know what they wanted to do. They were selling a lot of their assets and trading for future. Why would they release DJ Augustine? That's mind-blowing. He is playing great basketball. He's averaging 14 points and 5 assists for the Bulls.
Why was he not playing this well in Charlotte? Why was he not playing this well in Indiana? Why was he not playing this well in Toronto? Why?
Well, he did have good seasons in Charlotte. I mean, one season he averaged 14 and 6.
Oh my God, amazing. This guy's not all-star worthy. I wouldn't go amazing. Okay, he was not playing this well though. He was not playing
Amazing
this
and
well.
all-star is not the same thing.
No.
I think amazing 14-6, those are really good numbers.
They're solid.
He did that during the 2010-11 season with Charlotte.
Yeah, but on a bad team. You're on a Bulls team that actually has guys. He didn't have guys then. You know, he was playing behind Raymond Felton at one point. You know, he didn't have
And
guys.
he still got 6 assists then.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
I don't know how Toronto could release him. You know, everybody wants to say praise the GM for all the moves that he made. Here's a big mistake, I think, man. I mean, you have Kyle Lowry, who you may lose to free agency.
Unbelievable.
And you have a way cheaper option in DJ Augustine, and you released him.
Yeah.
But you cut him.
Yeah.
And what were all the teams around the league doing? Did anybody even try to get this guy? I mean, I could swear that teams were that nobody even knew if DJ Augustine was going to get picked up at one point.
No, yeah, the Bulls were the only team that were like, yeah, we need a point guard because they did. They need a point guard.
I don't know who's doing the scouting reports, but props to DJ Augustine.
All right, wait.
He's doing it and he's sharing minutes with Kirk Heinrich. You know, it's not like he's the starter and he's absorbing all the minutes.
No. Look, props to Coach Tibbs, man. Props to Coach Tibbs. This guy has been through the fire this season. He really has. They just take away. Didn't he lose like a lead assistant for no reason? Didn't they just get rid of some guy that was on his coaching staff that he wasn't happy about, like losing?
Well, here's the thing. If Thibodeau even slightly can be persuaded by Phil Jackson to come to the Knicks, you can be damn sure that Dolan is going to be pleading Jackson to go steal him, because this guy took nothing and brought him to the playoffs. You think about it, they lose Derrick Rose, they lose Luol Deng, they trade Luol Deng away. That's your top 2 players, right? Up until the midway point of the season,
right.
Everybody would rank Deng and Rose ahead of Noah.
Right.
And then once those 2 left, all of a sudden it's MVP player.
Right.
And Taj Gibson now is in the starting lineup, and all these other guys are getting a shot to play. And for a coach to be able to do that and not only win but become an actual threat, besides Steve, I'm sorry, I was going to say Steve Kerr. Besides Jeff Hornacek, I think Thibodeau has to be up for Coach of the Year.
And Thibodeau, I think, he was an assistant coach in New York at one point. So, you know, just him coming back to the New York area is big. But wait, before we continue this, I know I wanted to touch on your trade talk with Indiana. We were talking about Indiana. You were talking about how the trade might affect this. The only way, I think, if you look at the trade affecting this is like, look, Evan Turner was so good in Philly this season, and his game has not really worked out with Indiana. It hasn't moved over the right way. And if it's him not fitting in, if it's him just having bad games, he's just out of it. Look, Strickland's told us before, guys now have to pick up and move. Everything's put on hold. Where are you going? What's going to happen? Am I getting traded? Am I not getting traded? Now I'm in a new city. My family's in one place. I'm in another place. Now you're living out of a hotel. You have no house anymore. You know, things like that come into play. Maybe Evan Turner's still adjusting to just being in Indiana, being a brand new player there. Again, there's also pressure on him. You're talking about a team that's the best team in the East. He's not trying to mess up anything. He's not. Maybe that's another issue. Maybe he's just not playing his game. Maybe he's afraid to.
Well, Granger didn't have that problem.
Right,
and if they didn't do the trade, they wouldn't be going through this right now.
And that's why I'm saying maybe that's the only way the trade could have affected this. But still, Evan Turner, I mean, he's just not playing well.
Look, the Pacers were the best team in the East, and everybody knew their role. Everybody knew what they had to do. Granger had been around these guys for years. Yeah. And he knew their game. They knew his game. It's like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
There's no need to tinker. There's no, especially when you're dealing with who up until about a year and a half ago was the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
This was your best player up until a year and a half ago.
Right.
He went through all the hard times. He knows the system. Everybody knows him.
Right.
He knows how to play his role. He wasn't coming out and complaining about
and
his minutes.
you've talked about this before. I didn't disagree I thought it came down to they were going to ask Danny Granger, do you want to be here? Are we going to trade you? I don't know what exactly went down. It sounds more like, because they traded him to the Sixers, it sounded more like they just moved him because he obviously didn't want to play for the Sixers. So they just made a trade. I'm sure they didn't say, hey, would you like to stay? They seemed to just move him and upgrade their team. But like you're saying, Danny Granger's playing solid for the Clippers right now. He's coming into his own there. What do you have, 12 points the last game? 2 assists? Something like
Granger?
that?
Granger or Turner?
Granger for the Clippers. He
He
had a solid game, though. I'm pretty sure you said he had 12 points and 2 assists. He was solid. And for his role in the Clippers, obviously he's not starting for them. So
Last game he had 9 points and 2 rebounds. The game before that he had 14 points and 4 rebounds.
14 points. All right. But
Look, he's averaging 9.5 points over his last 10 games.
Right.
9.5 points in 16 minutes. You want to talk about efficient? That's it, right there.
Here's
one thing. Nearly 10 points in 16 minutes played.
Here's one thing that I still think of, and you're saying that, look, this guy was once the franchise player. Paul George's been struggling since January. Frank Vogel, if they kept Granger, now has an option because obviously Paul George, this thing is gone on long enough. They can't keep doing this. Now you can maybe reinsert Danny Granger.
That's a great point. And think about how young is the Pacers? You got Paul George, and you could say, they're not rookies or sophomores, but they're still very young. Paul George, Roy Hibbert, Lance Stevenson, all these guys in outside of David West. These guys are all very young. Granger could have been that guy and said, "Hey, man, I've been where you're at. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like when nothing goes in the basket, no matter how many times you shoot it." Yeah. And he would have counseled him. Yeah. You had the greatest veteran voice in that locker room, an all-star, a former all-star who also used to be the face of the franchise, the exact same spot that Paul George is in right now. He could have counseled him through this. And now you threw that away. And who knows, maybe Granger was a mentor to Paul George. And now with Granger gone, he doesn't have anybody to turn to talk to anymore. Who knows what their relationship was? Right. This thing could have had major ripple effects, and he could have helped Paul George, and now he's not there anymore.
Right.
Who better to help you than the guy who went through the exact same thing that you're going through right now?
Right. And let's remember this. When the Pacers, 2 of the games the Pacers had won, Andrew Bynum had 2 solid games for them, and now he's not even a factor anymore. He's done. They can't even go to him because they don't even know when he's coming back. So Andrew Bynum trading for him, Frank Vogel said they knew what they were getting. I think every team now knows when you're trading for Andrew Bynum or you're going to bring in Andrew Bynum, his knees are going to be an issue. No matter what, no matter how healthy they are, you have to assume he's going to miss games. A lot of games. It's going to happen. And Frank Vogel said they knew what they were getting with him. And I know people are saying it was a way to keep Miami from getting him. But what's the point if Miami got him? He wasn't going to play anyway. He's not playing now. He's not playing for the Pacers. So it's stupid. They're wasting a roster spot, in my opinion. He's just sitting there, not playing. So that option that they were winning with him, it's stupid because he can't play. So it doesn't matter. So they don't even have him as an option. They got to dig deep and hopefully strike gold because they're in a complete down spiral, and this is not what you want going into the playoffs. That's for sure. This team was poised to win a championship. They were considered by many, including yourself. Did you say that this was Indiana's year? Didn't you say that at the beginning of the season? A lot of people said it.
Yeah, I think that, and I still think that especially now, the way that the Miami Heat have struggled. Look, you can't teach size, and at the end of the day, the Pacers have that, and the Heat don't. The Heat went out and tried to nullify any team's advantage with hype by getting Greg Oden and bringing Greg Oden in. But he's also very unreliable. You have to deal with his health issues, and you take into effect that Dwayne Wade. I don't know what his knees are going to be like in the playoffs. If they have to rest him this much, that's kind of concerning. And the games that he's played, he's looked very good.
Yeah.
But the playoffs are a totally different grind.
No, they are.
So I don't know, and you can't. I still think that the Pacers are a better overall team,
right.
And I think that their height advantage will eventually be the difference between them and the Heat.
Well, personally, I don't think an East team is winning the championship this year. I really think the Spurs are going to win it. And I've been saying that since day one. Spurs are going to win it. I really do. I think so.
I don't think so. There's too many teams that are younger, more athletic. And look, I know that's the story every year, right? I mean, how many teams are younger and more athletic than the Spurs, and yet the Spurs always find a way? But they just went to the finals last season.
Yeah.
This season, the West is way better. I think the Western Conference this year is as good as I've ever seen it since being a basketball fan. We're talking about 20 years of me watching NBA basketball.
Yeah.
I can't remember a time when the Western Conference was this good.
Yeah.
You've got teams that are not in the playoffs right now that are playoff worthy, and they're not even in it. You think about the Golden State Warriors, you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely in them. They have to. If you don't look at records, you say to yourself, they have to be in the playoffs. They're amazing. They're only in the playoffs by 2.5 games. The Warriors are 44-27, and yet only hold a 2.5 game lead over Dallas, who's in the 9th seed. Okay, Dallas is 42-29, and yet not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You take Dallas's 42
look,
wins.
we talk about this.
They're the fourth. If you take Dallas and put them into the East,
we talk about this every show. The West
I know, but I'm saying the 9th seed could be the 3 seed in the East.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's the truth. The West is so much more dominant. I agree, but you look at the Spurs in the West, 54-16 right now. They won 14 straight, and you're saying again, you know, there are teams that are more athletic, more this, more that, and they're younger. And the Spurs are an old team. They run the same system. They're fundamental basketball, but that wins championships. Right now, that wins championships. And you know what? They're a big team too. They got a couple of bigs on that team, and they got what? Matt Bonners. How big is he? And he shoots threes. He's a big.
Yeah, but that's a totally different thing. The Heat in the East and San Antonio in the West. Excuse me. That's a totally different thing. San Antonio is in the Western Conference, and they.
Sniffles over there, Kyle.
What's that?
You got the sniffles too. I got the sniffles.
Yeah, you know what? I think that I cut myself. That's what it is. But San Antonio in the West, with the height thing, that's not the same kind of thing because everybody in the Western Conference is like that. Excuse me.
You all right over there? Should we go to break? Yeah. No, we are going to take a break in a minute. But no, I agree with you. San Antonio Spurs, I just think they have one last run in them. I think this is their year. I think Ginobili has a big shot to redeem himself. All right. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick up the West talk. Oklahoma City, where do they stand? What's going on with them? Stick around. Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com.
Foul out. Talkin Hoopz will be right back.
I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CVS Cares.
The new free CBS radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoopz, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on talkinhoopz.com or youtube.com/talkinhoops. And don't forget to follow @Talkin Hoopz on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you'd like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? Millions of healthy cats to choose from. It's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters. This bobcat's heavy. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts!
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer.
My dream is to be
a ballerina. My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef, truck driver,
a teacher,
a shoe designer,
professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, DJ, wanna talk more hoops? Bring the show in overtime. Check out talkinhoopz.com. Catch ya on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoopz. About 15 players in the team, 14 get along. Now here's a guy who likes to dunk. On his 8.5-foot ring. Take it away, AJ.
Talkin Hoopz will be right back.
I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CVS Cares.
The new free CBS radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
Designer. Professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, DJ, wanna talk more hoops? Bring the show in overtime. Check out talkinhoopz.com. Catch ya on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoopz. About 15 players in the team, 14 get along. Now here's a guy who likes to dunk. On his 8.5-foot ring. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back for real this time. Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoopz.com, NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com, Strickland in Georgia. WTF, man. WTF. Kyle, you all right over there?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Thought we lost you for a second.
The altitude over here is messing with me.
Yeah, that's it. And in our area, we're supposed to get 4 inches of snow now. 4 inches of snow tomorrow.
We were supposed to get 2 inches, but Brooklyn didn't get anything yet, so we're good. We're chilling. I want to have weather like these guys out here.
Yeah, how's it been in Brooklyn? Now that the Nets, they're doing well. You see any more people like converting from being a Knicks fan? You see any of that happening to going to the Nets?
Ton of people. People hate the Knicks. There's a lot of people that don't like the Knicks and on the Nets bandwagon right now.
Really? Even with Phil Jackson now on board.
Yeah, having Phil Jackson doesn't translate to wins right now.
No, but it
doesn't really do anything. Nobody's going out. You're not going to go out and buy a Phil Jackson jersey. It doesn't. I can't see people wanting to spend because Knicks games. If you look at Knicks games prices and the Nets prices are way cheaper still, and the Nets are a better team than the Knicks right now, and yet their ticket prices are still cheaper than the Knicks. Nobody's going to pay an exorbitant amount of money to see Phil Jackson sit in the stands. That doesn't put people in the stands. It's cool, but it's not going to make you want to go to a Knicks game anymore.
Right.
Especially, and now they dropped the game to Cleveland, and they were playing well for a stretch. But Cleveland, come on, they're playing without Kyrie Irving, their best player, and you still lose?
Right.
They had a nice run, but at the end of the day, it's still the same old Knicks team.
Yeah.
They're not any better than they were 2 weeks ago. I don't care what you say. I don't care. They beat the Pacers. They were on, a 7-game winning streak?
But I'm saying with Brooklyn in general, you like the Brooklyn chant? You like all that crap that's developed over there?
Do I like it?
Yeah, do you like
no,
it?
I'm not a Brooklyn fan. But it's like,
doesn't that chant annoy you? The Brooklyn.
Oh, I hate that chant. That is the worst chant in all of sports. It just sounds awful. Bro, it's stupid. I should say that I'm also going to the Nets game on Sunday when they play the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
but
just get through, bash the team. And
look, I want to see basketball, and it's cheaper. You can get really good seats for a cheaper price than you can for the Knicks game. So, it is what it is. I can't afford to sit in a nice seat in Madison Square Garden, but I can afford to sit in a nice seat in the Barclays, and that's what I got to do.
All right, but I'm sorry, are you taking a girl or what?
I am taking a girl. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then you better wear like a Knick hat or something. See, like Spike Lee went to the Nets Warriors game. He rooted against them. He was in his Knicks uni. He was wearing his Knicks uni. Yeah,
but you see, rooting against the Nets doesn't do anything for the Knicks. It's not like they're locked in a heated race.
No, but when he goes to the arena,
the division is coming down to the wire. No, the Nets are way better than the Knicks, and there's nothing that's going to be done over these next 2 weeks that's going to change that. So what does it matter?
You not have like a Brooklyn Nets jersey on when you call yourself a Knicks fan.
No, I'm not going to wear a Nets jersey or a Nets hat, and I'm not going to wear a Timberwolves jersey. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go as a basketball fan. I want to watch Kevin Love, Ricky Rubio. I like Kevin Martin. He's one of my favorite players in the league. And the Nets, I want to see Paul Pierce, and if Kevin Garnett ever plays another game, that would be nice. So, and again, Jason Kidd, we really took him to task in the beginning of the season. They were bad.
Yeah.
They were getting beat by everybody. He was making really poor decisions on the sidelines. You fast forward a few months later.
Spilling a drink.
Brook Lopez goes down for the season. Kevin Garnett can barely play a game. He's always out with a back injury. Darren Williams missed a bunch of time in the middle of the season and the beginning of the season. And look where they are now, and they're in the playoffs trying to win the division.
I want to see another drink get spilled. I want to see that happen.
Another what?
Another drink get spilled. Another drink.
Oh, drink.
Yeah, another drink.
I didn't know what the hell you were saying.
Yeah. No, I want to see him, knock something else over, cause, have it affect like a timeout or something. I want to see it happen.
It'll happen.
I hope
something
so.
Will happen. Look, he's a new coach. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to do these things. I still think when you put that much money and that many future assets into building a team to win now, to win right now, to win this season, you don't take on a rookie coach. Look, Jason Kidd did a really good job this season after failing in the beginning of the season. But at the same time, if you're going to win now, you don't bring on a rookie coach. The two things just didn't make sense.
Well, let me ask something. Brook Lopez, how does he now fit in this equation right now? The team's playing well without him, and they were playing really bad with him. But again, was that an experiment thing? Jason Kidd just didn't have this going the way he wanted it to go? Is Brook Lopez going to be a big factor for this team going forward? Or do they look to trade him? They're playing well now without him. They look to trade him, see what they can get for him.
It could be that Jason Kidd just didn't have his ducks in a row, and now that he has a little bit more experience next season, you can see how it works. But trading Brook Lopez is not going to be easy. Now, all of a sudden, over the past few seasons, these lower body injuries, and he had 2 procedures done in surgery, and one of them was sort of preventative so that things don't happen in the future. He had his foot shaved, some bone shaved to prevent future injuries. So I don't know what teams are going to be willing to take that on, because Brook Lopez's asking price is not going to be low. Right. He was an all-star. He's all-star caliber. Last season he was an all-star. This season he could have been on the all-star team had he been healthy.
Right.
So who's going to give up a lot for a guy who may or may not be able to put in a whole full season?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. If they were able to trade him this season before the injury, they could have gotten a lot for him. They opted to keep him, and now this is the boat that they're in.
Right. Yeah, well, they don't have any draft picks. They could even just try and move him for a draft pick or something like that. A couple of draft picks and some, throw-in.
At least they're in the playoffs, and they're not going to be a lottery team. They didn't give away a lottery pick, unlike the Knicks, who, if they miss, it's a total catastrophe.
And you know what? I actually was rooting for the Nets the other night because they were playing the Bobcats, and we need them to win for the Knicks to get into the playoffs. I never thought I'd say it, but I was rooting for the Nets to win a game. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And they did. They won that game, but still. But wait, okay, so before the break, we were talking about the West teams, all right? The powerhouse teams in the Western Conference, the Spurs, the Thunder. Let's talk about the Thunder.
Well, see, here's why I don't think that the Spurs are going to make it. Look at how well the Thunder have played, and Russell Westbrook missed all this time. You're looking at how many teams can be second in their conference, not the division, the conference.
Yeah.
When your second best player, who also happens to be an all-star, goes down with an injury.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's...
Not many teams can say that. Look at the Heat. Dwayne Wade, he misses every other game. If you take him out and he misses the same amount of time as Russell Westbrook, where would they be? If you look at Indiana, and I guess who's their second best player? Maybe Lance Stevenson, maybe David West. If you take one of them off the team for a certain amount of time, how good would they be?
Yeah.
You look at these teams, you take the second best player off, and by the way, their second best player also happens to be one of the best players in the league.
Right.
It's not like he's their second best player specific to that franchise.
No.
I mean, in the whole league, he's a top 10
he's
player.
He's one of those,
probably.
a lot of people, though, a lot of people, they know he's good. He's one of those, love-hate best players in the league, though. And that doesn't come around too often. He may be the only player right now in the league that you, love him and hate him at the same time, and he's so good, and he's so... Because he takes a lot of shots. He's known as a chucker. He is. He's a point guard. He's known as a chucker.
Yeah, but for a point guard, maybe he shoots a lot.
Look, he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I want to get a Westbrook jersey, okay? But
the league has transformed. Point guards are now more.
They look for their shot.
They shoot a lot more. They take things into their hands a lot more. They don't look to pass as much. Steph Curry shoots a lot. Russell Westbrook shoots a lot.
Right.
You look at Indiana. Well, maybe not Indiana. That's poor. But you look at Cleveland. Kyrie Irving. These point guards.
Right.
The best point guards in the league now really shoot more than pass.
Right.
That's really the league that we're in.
Right.
Rondo is maybe the exception.
But if you look at a lot of these point guards, actually including Rondo, even though he can't shoot because he just can't shoot. But if you look at some of these point guards, Kyle Lowry, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, okay, let's take those 3 guys. These 3 point guards are huge. These are big point guards. They're built, okay? They're quick, and they all have skills, talent. Lowry, for his size, he should utilize that as much as he can, and if that means that he's got to take look, he's bigger than He's bigger than a lot of guards that he plays. He's huge. He's a huge point guard.
Who used to do that? Just to add on, and then he can continue. Mark Jackson, the coach now of the Warriors.
He was bigger than everybody.
He used to put guys in the post all the time. How many times he was a point guard who posts you up? Exactly,
and that's what I mean. If you have an ability, now you look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry, not a big guard, but he may be one of the best shooters of all time. So you're not going to tell one of the best shooters of all time not to shoot. You want him to shoot. So in his situation, yeah, he should look for his shot. He should be the focal point of coming off screens. He shouldn't look so much to get guys involved. They should look for him to make shots because that's his best ability. You know, that's his best talent. Shooting. It's what he does. So when you look at those guys, yeah, they shouldn't be so much as a old school point guard where you look to pass the ball. Okay, a guy like Steve Nash, he looked to pass the ball. He can also make shots, but he averaged a lot of assists because he was a true point guard. You know, he had the right kind of balance. Chris Paul, another guy that could just get to the rim. He's a pretty big guard too, right? Paul, you'd say he's pretty big. He's not little. He's short, but he's got pretty big shoulders, right? He's a bigger dude. So, you know, you look at some of these guards. I just feel like they're able to do that and kind of veer away from being the old school point guards.
That's right. The game has changed.
Yeah, the game has changed. It really has. It really has. And hey, you got 7-footers shooting threes. Look at Maurice Spates. Maurice Spates shoots 3-pointers. Maurice Spates shoots 3-pointers.
Well, maybe he shouldn't be.
Here we go. Oh, are you okay? Are you okay over there again? We gotta go to another break.
I think I'm okay.
All right. Making me nervous there. Making everybody nervous.
You should just keep the camera off of me, just in case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nobody wants to see me anyway, so.
I mean, look. Apparently, someone does. You got a date going to the Brooklyn Nets game.
Yeah, and if she sees me, with my nose all jacked up, then she's not gonna want to go anymore. So we can't show her any of this footage.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
So, but if you look at the West, who do you think makes it, and who do you think is out? Do you think Phoenix holds on?
No, honestly, Phoenix had a great season, and I think if they miss the playoffs, I think that eliminates Jeff Hornacek to being Coach of the Year, unfortunately. But I think Dallas is going to make it. I really do. I think Dallas is going to get in. You know what? I think Phoenix is young, and I think they're going to fall out. Memphis is playing much better. They just, when you just think of Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph together, how can that team not get in the play? And Mike Conley, solid point guard. How can that team not get in the playoffs? You know, those are 3 solid players. Phoenix, I just think they're too young. They're not there yet. They're just not there yet. And Dragic, as well as they've played this season, it's just unfortunate they're not in the East, you know, because they would be a playoff team. But I think Phoenix is going to miss the playoffs. I think they're going to fall. What do you think?
It's tough. I could see Phoenix because they have a young coach. They have a young, not in age, but I mean in experience. And they have a young team. Dallas is making a really strong push now. It'll come down to Dallas and Phoenix. You know, I think Memphis, like you said, Memphis probably holds on. Golden State on. So Dallas and Phoenix, who's it going to be? Is Phoenix going to be able to fight off? You know, right now they're tied in the loss column and the win column. They're both 42 and 29.
Right.
It's just that Phoenix, you know, has a better division record. And right now they've won 4 straight, and Dallas has lost 1. So the momentum is on Phoenix's side.
Yeah.
But the age and experience, you know, Dirk is on Dallas. You know, he's been through it all. Vince Carter, Sean Marion, these guys have all been through it. You know, That's why I like Dallas. Yeah, and I also have to agree with you. But if Phoenix gets in, and San Antonio is the number 1 seed, they will give the Spurs a tough series. It's not going to be your normal 1-8 matchup where the 1 seed trumps the 8-8 out of the playoffs. I think Phoenix will win a couple of games and could push this to a game 6.
Oh, you just love counting out the Spurs. You love it.
I think Phoenix, man, the way that they play, the style that they play, if they can impose their will on the game and get San Antonio to play their game, watch out.
Man,
this Suns team has, remember, they were winning games with Eric Bledsoe injured. And you could say that Eric Bledsoe is their best player. Man. They got probably the best, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it, the best backcourt and the most underrated backcourt in all of the league. Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe. If you start them at the 1 and 2, that's dangerous, man.
Spurs,
those guys can really take over a game together.
I'd say if Phoenix beats the Spurs, they're gonna beat them once, one game. Beat them one game.
Come on, you got to give them more credit than that.
No.
This team is 42 and 29.
Spurs take it in 5 games.
They're not that far back of the Spurs. I mean, they're 12 games back, granted. But they got 42 wins. This is a 42 game winning team here.
Here's the thing you got to remember.
They're probably 547 games.
All right, but here's the thing you got to remember about the Spurs, okay? The Spurs are like a well-oiled machine. Everybody knows this, okay? They play real fundamental, solid basketball, as we said earlier. They're going to make the Suns play at their pace. The Suns, the only shot they have is to try and keep the tempo. Try and keep the game at their tempo. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that against the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs are going to allow that. I don't. And I think Tim Duncan, he's going to be playing a lot more minutes in the playoffs. Ginobili, a lot more minutes in the playoffs. Parker can play that tempo. So, I think you're giving Phoenix, as good as they've been all season, I think you're giving them a lot of credit against the Spurs. I do. Oklahoma City, maybe. But not the Spurs. Not a veteran, not a Popovich team. Sorry, I just don't see that. 5 games. I'll give them 1 game if you're set on that. I'll give them 1 game.
Game 6.
Telling you.
Game 6.
I like the Spurs to win it all this year.
I know you do, but I don't know. I like the Spurs. You can never really bet against the Spurs. It's not a wise thing. Everybody does it every year, but they still manage to come through somehow. I don't see it. I don't see it. Not this year. The Clippers, the Thunder. You got the Grizzlies, man. They're a 7th seed. They're so good, and yet they're in the 7th seed. You got Golden State. The teams are just too good this year. The Western Conference is so stacked. You need a guy like Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. You need a mega star who can take over a game and put up 45 points.
Right.
You just need it. You need a guy who can average 40 points in a whole series. Kevin Durant can do it. You need somebody superhuman to get out of this Western Conference. Whoever gets out of this Western Conference, by the time they get to the finals, they're going to be so worn down and so battle-tested. It's insane. Imagine the Spurs having to play Atlanta instead of at one of these other teams. It would be so much different. But good luck to whoever comes out of the Western Conference. Jeez.
You know what I just noticed? Kyle?
Tell me.
We talk about the East and the West. All right, we talk about the East and the West. We talk about the West being much more dominant. Do you see anything that sticks out between the West teams and the East teams? Obviously their record, but I mean, why maybe their record is the way they are? Does anything stick out to you? Because I see something. Do you see it? All the playoff teams right now in the East and all the playoff teams in the West, is there anything? Think of starting lineups, all right? Is there anything that just sticks out to you?
No. I mean, maybe the West has every Western Conference playoff team, probably with the exception of... No, I don't know. Tell me.
Size. The Clippers. Oklahoma City when Perkins is there. Portland. Robin Lopez. LaMarcus Aldridge. All these guys got really big players. You got players that are borderline, just big guys, just huge. They play big. They all
but
play
so does
big.
Indiana has that, Chicago has that, Washington has that.
Yeah, Washington doesn't have. They're not that big.
Of course they do.
They got Gortat.
Yeah, and they also have Nene.
Nene, but he's not like, come on, he's not like huge. He's not like big.
Of course, he could play center. He used to play center.
Yeah,
before they got Gortat, he'd probably be playing center if they didn't.
But to me, it's just if you look at all these other teams and the depth too. I mean, look, the Spurs too. They're still a pretty big team. The Spurs have so many big guys. That's the other thing. How many guys that play on the Spurs do you even know? There's a lot of guys I don't even know. Like Ayers. Ayers.
No, look, they've got Boris Diaw and Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Marco Bellinelli,
Memphis, big team.
Patty Mills, Matt Bonner. I just named 9, and that's off the top of my head without even thinking. You know the Spurs team. There may be 1 or 2 guys, but they may never play. I mean, you know the core guys on the Spurs.
Oh, yeah, no. But, when Parker was injured, Patty Mills getting minutes. That means someone else is getting minutes. But they go in, they do what they do, get going with this win streak. I mean, they just – I'm telling you, I like the Spurs. I know, I've been saying I like the Spurs. I can't say that enough. I really think they got it this year.
I know we're about to wrap up soon. So who you got coming out of the Eastern Conference to play the Spurs in the finals?
Well, that all depends on a lot here.
Well, take everything into account and tell me what you got.
No, I don't like telling you because.
What do you mean?
Because I don't like telling you because you think I'm crazy. Then we start going on the crazy bandwagon.
Well, that's what we got to do, man. Sometimes we got to get a little crazy.
All right. Let's say Indiana keeps falling off and they head into the playoffs, but they're the number 1 seed, right?
Okay.
And let's say the Knicks get in the playoffs and they're the 8th spot. Who's winning that series? You still think the Pacers?
Yeah.
Even if the Knicks, the team that won 8 straight, that team shows up, and you don't think they have a shot here?
Not a prayer in the world will save them.
See, that's what I mean. I think I'm crazy.
Not even close.
I'm not
the
saying
Knicks are a bad team. Just face it. They're not good.
I'm not saying
they're not a good team.
I'm not saying they're going to win the finals. But, look, I guess when it comes down to it, I think
what team is better, the Knicks this year or the Knicks last year?
I guess you got to go last year, I guess.
What team is better, the Pacers this year or the Pacers last year?
Well, the Pacers were better this year. It's looking more and more like they were better last year, though.
But right now, what team is better, all things considered?
I guess you have to say the Pacers.
So if the Pacers are better this year...
if the Knicks get in and the Pacers keep losing, I'm not going to say that.
The Knicks keep losing! I mean...
Let's see what it was.
They just lost to Cleveland without Kyrie Irving.
Wait a minute. All right. And 8 straight. They lost 1 game, and they say, let's see if they pick it up in this West Coast trip here. All right. We didn't really talk about the Knicks tonight. All right. We stayed a little.
Yeah, because they suck. They stink. Why are you going to talk about a team that stinks for?
You always talk about a team that stinks. I tell you that.
They stink.
I was thrilled that we didn't talk about it. It's amazing. They get Phil Jackson. They get all this. We don't talk about the Knicks. When the Knicks are
you
losing,
shut down
you
Melo,
talk about
the team is done.
Unreal.
So when you get into the playoffs and you actually game plan because you have to play this team at least 4 times,
what about the Sixers?
You're going to come up with a game plan for Melo. And then somebody else is going to have to step up, and nobody's going to be able to.
The Sixers lost 25 straight, too. They're not in the playoffs. They're not even close to the playoffs. 25 straight? When is that going to stop? When are they going to win a game? What about that prediction?
I don't know. That's good. They play Boston. In Boston, the game against Boston, it's in April, and Boston is in a back-to-back. That's their first game of a back-to-back, and the Celtics do not play Rajon Rondo in back-to-backs. So if they choose to rest Rondo that game to have him play the next one, you're looking at a Celtics team without Rondo. That could be the game.
All right. Well, all right. We got to start wrapping up the show. You're right. We do. We got to start wrapping up the show, but. I'm going to say Miami, all right? Miami's my pick, all right? You happy?
I am not happy. I mean, I'm happy that you made a pick, but yeah. All right, Miami from the Spurs again.
Well, I'm going with Miami. I do. I think Miami's got a good shot, but I don't think they beat the Spurs. Not this year, baby. Not this year. Right. Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com, NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. Strickland, hope you're enjoying your vacation. We'll catch you next week for sure. I hope you enjoyed Chris Bosch's party. God, what is it like? For Kyle, for AJ, catch you guys on the rebound.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to TalkinHoops.com.
Catch you on the rebound.